Hi everyone, before I start with the video, I'd like to apologize for the clicking noise in the audio which will appear later in the video. I don't know why this has happened, but to compensate for that, I have reduced the higher frequencies when the noise appears so it will be less unpleasant to the ears. I did not have time to re-record the video, so this was the easiest solution now. Hope you will enjoy it anyways. Cheers! Greetings fellow traders, this is Max and welcome to my Sunday market analysis where I'm going to analyze the market and share with you my top trades for the upcoming week. And last week wasn't as big of a trading success as I wanted it to be. And you already know that if you followed my free Telegram channel where I shared all my trades. It's been another stop out, so this week will hopefully be different. But of course, it's the market, you can never predict it, and it's just going to be very often coincidence whether the trade is going to work or not. I have selected 4 pairs here with interesting trade setups that I am interested in taking if the opportunity is given to me. And of course, we will have a look at some pairs from last week as a short little recap to see how those pairs have performed. So stay tuned for that until the end of the video. Now, without further ado, let's have a look at my 4 selected pairs. And we're going to start here with the pair EURCAD. And on the Euro Canadian dollars to EURCAD, I am looking for a potential long position here. If you look at the weekly chart, we can see that we are still creating new highs. We are in an uptrend. And if you want to put a trend line here, you can see that it has reacted to this trend line several times, has rejected it, and the price has even climbed higher. So I am waiting now for actually a retracement. It could technically be down to this trend line again and then reject it. However, this is not what I'm looking for since I do not use trend lines for entries or just for trading in general. This is just going to give me an idea where the price is going. So what I want to see here is that it maybe could break this small trend line here as a liquidity grab. At the same time, it's rejecting the round psychological level, the 1.62 round psychological level inside this area of interest where the price has peaked into and then climbed back up from that zone. If this is going to happen, then I will look for an entry signal here that will indicate a price continuation to the upside, because as you can see on the weekly chart, we had the break, we had the small retest, we even had this kind of flag trend line pattern break, even though it's not a really clear break. It's more like also a liquidity grab, but this is just the pattern that I currently see here, even on the lower time frame. Or if you zoom in a little, let's go to the 4 hour, we can spot an inverse head and shoulders pattern here where it seems to have broken the neckline and now it's retesting or liquidity grabbing around the inverse shoulder here, and then it might continue higher. If that's the case and it's not coming down back into my desired zone, then I will just skip this trade as this is not a really sufficient entry for me for a good risk reward ratio. So if price comes back here and is triggering my alarm, I will have a look at the price, look for my entry signal, the shifter structure, and a nice maybe morning star candlestick formation or an engulfing candlestick above the round psychological level. Then I'm interested in that. So this is my trading plan, a long position on EURCAD. Now let's go to GBPNZD. And GBPNZD is also a long position I'm currently looking at. The only thing here, I believe it could already be gone, but let's analyze why. So on the weekly chart, we see a really big green weekly candlestick that has broken through 2 round psychological levels here, and area of interest. We have the 2.33 round psychological level and the 2.31 round psychological level. It has even formed some kind of morning star on the weekly chart here, and this is really interesting. So what I want to look for now is I want to wait for the price to come back into the smaller zone here. And the recent week even has created some kind of small retest of this Morningstar formation. And this is really interesting because this is what I often see when using some Morningstar formations. But of course, the weekly chart is not really, or in another way, the weekly chart covers a big price range here. So on the lower time frame, you are a little more precise from what I've found. But since we've broken out of this level here and it has retraced back into the zone and even had peaked below this 2.31 round psychological level, even the lower time frame, it looks like that this was already a retest and it's then continuing higher or maybe breaking below and then going into a lower price level. That could all happen, but if it happens again and it's giving me a clean shifter structure inside the zone, then I'm definitely interested in opening a long position here on GBPNZD. And the next pair on my list is NZDJPY. And NZDJPY, also a long position that I am looking for. So we had this significant zone here, an area of interest and around psychological level, the 87 round psychological level. So we have the breakout and then we have a failed retest. It broke below it again and then it broke above it, and now it seems to maybe retest it, or it has already retested it in the NZDJPY kind of way, so to say, right? So I'm waiting for price to come back into the zone and show me the bullish strength inside and on the lower time frame here in the area. Now, of course, it's important to be patient here, but what I would like to see is a day maybe peaking below and then closing above the round psychological level again, and that's indicating some solid buying pressure that the price might continue higher and actually even break this zone here. But depending on the price movement and the entry, maybe this could be the first profit target already, and everything above is just a bonus in profits. But it's ranging quite a lot, so it might not even react to the zone, or it just might bounce back from this area here. If that's the case, I'm not going to take the trade, and this is just what I'm waiting for now to come back into the zone and give you my entry signal. So that's for NZDJPY. Now let's go to NZDUSD. And on NZD, I'm actually looking for a short position this time. While it's all been long positions, this time it's going to be a short position again. And if you remember, some time ago, I was already looking for a short position in this pair and in the zone, and I believe it was this right here, but it hasn't climbed back into the area where I wanted the price to be in order to open the position. But right now, what you can see, we are in a really clear downtrend. We are creating new lows here, and it's almost following a perfect channel. You sometimes have those peaks or liquidity grabs outside of this channel and the zone, but other than that, it's respecting it really well. And what I am essentially looking for is we have an area of interest here, however not really a clear area of interest, because we have the 0.568 round psychological level the price has reacted to, but also the 0.569 round psychological level. So there are several ones. It's not really a clean one or a very even one, which is why I just skipped marking this here. But it's definitely an area the price, as you can see, has reacted to as resistance, as support, and it looks like even here we had strong support, and it looks like this could turn into resistance now, and this is what I'm looking for. Preferably some kind of red candle as we have here as my signal and an entry signal. On the lower time frame, of course, the shift of structure, maybe such a small head and shoulders pattern here, which would be a bearish sign, and then the breakout could be the entry signal, even though I would like to wait for retests. But right now the price seems to have the structure that it just continues lower if it has reached the area. And the ultimate profit target could either be the lowest low here so far in this downtrend, or actually the low down here, which could also be in or at a round psychological level the price has reacted to, maybe the 0.556 round psychological level. It really depends, but I'm going to be careful here and watch closely, monitor the price action and see how it's behaving here, whether it's going to give me my entry or not. And that's already it with the pairs for the coming week. Now let's have a look at some pairs from last week and see how they have performed. And I'd like to start here with the pair CAD CHF. So on CAD CHF, the plan was to wait for a retest again of this area here and then open a long position if it's giving me the shift of structure and seems to bounce from this area, which, as you can see, has not happened. It had a smaller bounce here before, and then I was waiting for another test of this area. This neutral candlestick here indicated that this might be the rejection I'm looking for and that the price might break above the zone now again and continue higher. It did not do so, and it did not give me my entry signal. So I completely avoided that loss. There was no trade happening here. It just broke through the area and dropped below the zone. So this was not a sufficient shift of structure here that it might continue higher. So no trade, no entry signal, and no loss. So that's good. So let's look at Euro AUD. And Euro AUD also dropped below from where I wanted to open a long position previously. And what you can see here that it immediately rejected the zone. The neutral daily candlestick here indicated already that there might be some bearish rejection here. But of course, on the lower time frame and when I was planning the trade, it could have been just a normal retest and then a continuation to the upside. But it has been ranging quite a lot, but there hasn't been any entry signals, so there was no trade for me and I avoided that loss. And now I'm just going to have a look at Euro AUD and see what it's doing next to plan further trades. Now let's have a look at GBP CAD. And GBP CAD was the pair where I actually reopened a position after I got stopped out, and then I got stopped out again, which is really unfortunate. But let's look at the pair and see why this has happened. So previously I had opened a position around the zone here, the area, and my stop loss somewhere around here. As you can see, the price has moved into profit quite well, which is really nice. And then it reversed back into the zone, stopping me out, but then has reversed again, pushing into profit. But unfortunately, it came back again, but this was already where I had been stopped out from my previous position. So one position I entered was here and the other one was there. Both went into profit, but then stopped me out again. So I just skipped this pair completely now and said, okay, 2 stop outs. That's it for the pair. I'm going to skip it. And what you can see here, it even retested the zone again and then continued higher. It is what it is. You can't do much about it. Maybe it will continue higher now in the coming days and weeks. If it does, I'm just going to skip it completely. I'm not going to be interested in this trade anymore unless it's going to maybe break the zone, retest it, and then continue higher. But this is going to take some more days here, maybe weeks. And I've set my alarm here, so whenever the price is reaching that zone, I will get a notification. And of course, if it breaks below, then that would also be interesting. So I'm going to place an alarm here additionally to see what it's doing if it does so. Let's go to the pair USD CHF, which is going to be the last one from last week. And I was also looking for a long position here after it broke through the round psychological level and the area of interest here. I wanted to see a shift of structure in my entry signal around this area here again to then open a long position. But as you can see, it has never given me my entry signal and it just broke through the zone again and price dropped below. So there was no trade happening and I completely avoided the loss. So did not really follow the plan, but that's good because there hasn't been any entry signal. I did not take this trade and I did not lose any money on this trade. So I was also already a little skeptical about this candlestick, and as you can see, eventually there was nothing to worry about for me as the trade wouldn't have worked anyways. So this is what it is. I'm going to see what it's doing next. Maybe it's going to break below this area here, and then that's also going to be really interesting. Maybe another break and retest trade around the round psychological level here and the area of interest. I can actually mark this one right here live, and then we'll see what it's going to do in the future. And that's already it with this week's Sunday market analysis. I've looked at the other pairs too, but I did not find any nice and suitable trades for my strategy. I'll set price alarms, and if any of those alarms is getting triggered, I will have a look at the respective pair again and see if I can find another trade for the coming week. If you want to get notified whenever that happens, and if you're interested in my actual running trades and trade updates and when I open or close a position, then you can just join my free Telegram channel. I will put the link to it into the video description. You'll also find the link to my other socials there. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below and I will try to answer your questions. Thank you for watching. I wish you a successful trading week. Remember to manage your risk properly and see you next Sunday.